Sweet Christmas.
Shout out to my birds.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Che.
And this is Corey.
And this is the Next Time On podcast, a podcast where two lifelong friends talk about all things amazing and all things fetid in popular culture. It'd be like if instead of listening to too many Joe Rogan podcasts and ruining their career, Evangeline Lilly and Letitia Wright got the fucking vaccine and made a good podcast. Is that fair, Corey?
That's very fair. And the
What's
only reason
wrong
we're
with
still,
these women?
that's the only reason we're still on Spotify, guys. We would love to also, but we literally cannot afford to be off any.
Yeah, we don't have
the luxury
Neil
to
Young money,
leave.
all right? We're not about that life yet.
I wish we could take a stand, but we cannot.
My priorities go capitalism, my values in that
Yes.
order.
Yes, that's exactly how we work. Get your vaccines or whatever.
Oh, but I
If you
mean,
listen-
Evangeline Lilly, what are you doing?
Is she really not? Is that true?
Yeah, it was like a big thing. Like she posted an Instagram post. She drove down to DC to come protest. It wasn't even like I don't like the vaccine.
Evangeline Lilly, like from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
From Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah,
She's gonna get strapped down and get that fucking vaccine like what's her face did.
I think
you're right.
I think she does have it.
She has to have.
I think
'Cause
she's against it. I think she's against having to have it.
I fucking hate people. Let's get into this podcast.
It's not going to get any better though, Corey. You know, we're
I
talking
know,
about
it's
four
not.
brothers today, right?
Yeah, okay, guys, it's Curse of the Rewatch, where if you guys did not read the title, we're going to be talking about the 2005
Cinematic classic. Tell it like it is. The cinematic
classic, Four Brothers, starring Mark Wahlberg. I don't even know why I did this, like from the top of my brain.
Do you want me to do it? I have it in my notes.
I just fucking forget I just forget the other guy, Gareth.
Garrett Hedlund,
There it
Tyrese
is.
Gibson, Sofia Vergara, Andre 3000, Chiwetel Ejiofor. I always do that. Terrence Howard, Taraji P. Henson in two scenes, Josh Charles, and our boy Barry. Oh my God, Shabaka Henley. There's also a lot of some other people in here, but that's the main gist of the cast.
It's a very stacked cast, honestly.
It is directed by John Singleton, who I think most famously is the director of Boys in the Hood, his debut film. Also, excellent movies like Poetic Justice and Rosewood, and super fun movies like Shaft, and also bad movies like this and Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
He had a very interesting career, and also the creator of one of my favorite shows, my favorite show of last year, although that season made tragically after his death, Snowfall. So very celebrated, amazing film and TV maker. This should not reflect on his career, the shit we're about to take on this movie. Because
I think honestly, from like doing this Curse of the Rewatch, we have to understand that the 2000s were just apparently a very bad time for those. Like, unless it was like one of those like award movies, the main gist of that era was just not good.
Yeah. So just for reference for people who don't really know what Corey's talking about, 2005 had some really great movies. I mean, that's of course the year of Batman Begins. That's the year of History of Violence, personal favorite of mine. We also have Kingdom of Heaven, which I ride for, even though it's maybe a little 6.5 hours too long. And we also have movies like Aeon Flux and Havoc
Flux.
and Just Friends, the truly horrible Ryan Reynolds movie before Ryan Reynolds became a beloved Canadian.
Is that the one with oh wait, no, that one's horrible. I forgot about Just Friends.
It's the one.
That's the friend zone one.
Yeah, it's
That's
the entire movie about the friend zone, which I think is almost single-handedly responsible for like 50% of the incels in the world.
Yeah, I think that movie. I think that movie was like not great when it came out, and it's definitely not good now. We will never be talking about that movie. I don't ever want to watch that. I don't. No.
Also doesn't
I
fit
watched the
into
fucking Happening.
It doesn't fit into the prompt, which is like things we liked as kids, or like The Happening, things that are just so terrible they're like a ton of fun to talk about.
Che fucking made me watch The Happening.
The Happening is hilarious, Corey. Zooey Deschanel thinks she's an actress. That's funny to me.
All right, everyone who want now another group
There's
of people
no
who
Zooey
really
Deschanel fans. Don't do this to
watch
me.
out. There's gonna be one. There's definitely
How
always
could
one.
there be?
They
How could
always
you
text
watch
me.
Zooey
You
Deschanel?
don't fucking get texted about it. Be like, Che did it again. You
Yeah,
know?
because I don't give my number out to crazy people who like Zooey Deschanel. That's your
Stop.
fault.
Stop attacking people.
Also, creators of this movie, weirdly, two white guys wrote this film. We'll get into why that's weird. David Elliott and Paul Lovett, who, Corey, do you know what their basically their only other movie they've ever written is?
Is it going to be something mildly racist?
It's something else we've done on this podcast recently.
No,
I think actually very recently.
What is it? I don't know.
G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra.
No wonder they didn't do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, but this is a lot. Like G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra came in 2009, so basically they made this movie. They somehow got John Singleton.
They somehow got a fucking studio script writing job out of this, because you don't really go to somewhere with a G.I. Joe script. Someone was like, put these guys on this, and then it happened.
Yeah, Hasbro was like, although Four Brothers actually did pretty well.
It did do very well. I was looking at the numbers before this. It was like it made like $250 million or something like that. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, that brings us to the box office of this movie, $92 million off of $30 million budget. That's not to mention, in 2005, you were raking in DVD money after that too. It got
Sorry guys, I own this on DVD.
Do you really?
I own this on DVD somewhere in my dad's house. I have it on DVD.
I'm at least clean on that account. I have so
I'm
this
not
is
proud of that.
52% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, a number that doesn't mean anything. 80% from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes, a number that means even less. But fascinatingly, and this I actually spent a lot of time researching this next list I'm going to give you. This movie got 3 stars from Roger Ebert while he was alive, not just this website. Roger Ebert.
Can you remind me what is it out of 4 or 5?
It's out of 4. So this is a 3 out of 4 star movie. Just for reference, I assembled a list of movies that Roger Ebert gave a lower rating. I'm not
going to look at the list. I want
lower rating. Here we go.
Lower rating
than this film. These are movies that Roger Ebert himself thinks are worse than Four Brothers.
The Thing, dunk on an old man, on a dead man.
I love Roger Ebert, but I mean, come on, sometimes people have bad opinions. The Thing, Beverly Hills Cop, The Untouchables, Full Metal Jacket, Reservoir Dogs, Leon the Professional, A Few Good Men, X-Men, Spider-Man, Man on Fire, Memoirs of a Geisha, Oscar-winning movie, by the way, Inside Man, one of my favorite Denzel movies of all time, Die Hard, The Usual Suspects, and my personal favorite on this list, Fight Club. All of these movies received 2.5 stars or less from the late, great Roger Ebert.
Yo, Roger, what the fuck were you doing, man?
Ebert, man, what's going on?
How did Ebert sit down and watch the movie and be like, yo, this is a 3 out of 4?
I read his review of this movie, and I think he was high off of Boys in the Hood fumes. He talks a lot about Singleton's vision of, like, America, which is quite representative in Boys in the Hood, a movie that I think is a genuine classic, and I think is not present in this bad
Four Brothers is a cartoon universe. Yeah. This isn't like this exists nowhere. There is a 10-minute, I'm assuming in real time there, about a half an hour gunfight using like just full on assault weapons gunfights. You don't hear a single siren. You don't even see anybody else. It's just dead.
Yeah, it's
dead.
One of my favorite parts of that scene is at the end. Mark Wahlberg yells, "Somebody call 911."
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody called 911, Mark.
A long time ago. Or just someone heard a gunshot. There's many gunshots. That shit is loud.
God. Yeah, I mean it's quite an impressive cacophony of things going on in this movie, I think, in a lot of ways. Like, it's one of the I think these bad movies fall into 2 categories. Kind of like The Happening, which is just something went wrong in the water when everyone was making that movie, and they just
M. Night Shyamalan, but continue.
Something went wrong with a lady in the water. I think that's not even a pun. I just said lady in the water. Cut that out.
I don't even know. You know, he put himself in that movie as the writer.
He puts himself in all the movies. He's an insane person.
I fucking hate him.
There's movies like that, like The Happening, or like G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra, which are like silly, goofy, bad, and can be kind of fun to watch if you're drinking or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's movies like this, which are just, I don't know what the word is. Like, everything that any person does in it is inexplicable. Nobody acts like a human in Four Brothers. It's very weird.
Yeah,
And
all of it around is like I could not tell what the tone was for this movie for a solid like half an hour. I'm like, is it going to be like is it a comedy? Are they treating this seriously?
if it's a comedy, it's the least I've ever laughed at a comedy in my life.
I feel like back then this is fucking hilarious to a lot of people.
Yeah, so we will be talking about it later in the episode. The basically running joke that Garrett Hedlund's character is gay. And in 2005, I guess that's right on the borderline of when that is a joke. I mean, not that I'm saying that like it's a joke that we should have found funny, but undeniably there was a time in the 2000s and the 90s where like ha 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 gay was a form of humor that writers' rooms came up with. But
this movie is
watching now is just rough. It's like what is Mark Wahlberg's character doing?
Maybe the most toxic. This movie so like the epitome of toxic masculinity is this film. It's this film. And
I think the movie is you're supposed to assume that he is actually gay. He's not just being laughed at by his brothers and like they're making fun of him for being gay. I think you're supposed to assume his character is actually gay, which makes it even more dark. It's like he's literally being bullied for his sexuality by his brothers.
His brother uses a gay slur at him while he's dying.
I forgot about that.
Fucking insane. Like you couldn't drop it for a second. It's like he's playing the same like character in like Usual Suspects where he just only like makes fun of people because that's just his entire character.
Yeah.
But just
I think this is a pretty typical bad screenwriters move, is to basically be like, we want to convince the audience that this guy is a bit of a dick. So what we're going to do is make him do nice things but say awful things. So like the whole point of Bobby's character is like he will ride to the whole point of all these characters is they'll ride to the end of the earth for their mother who tragically died. But along the way, basically only say the worst things to everybody around them.
Act like horrible people.
To the point where like they have no impulse control. They like beat an old man because he was having sex with their mother. They don't know that.
The people that they rough up in the beginning are children. A majority of people that they rough up in this movie are children and old people.
Should we write down the plot of this movie?
Sure, why not?
All right, well, we'll start from the beginning.
Yeah, I guess.
Evelyn Mercer, who is a beloved figure in the city of Detroit by all accounts of this film, is murdered in cold blood during a seemingly a gas station or a convenience store robbery one night, and that sets off, of course, a series of events, which brings her 4 adopted sons back to Detroit. Well, actually, 3 of her adopted sons. One of them already lives there. We have Bobby Mercer, played by Mark Wahlberg, Jack Mercer, who is a rock star, played by Garrett Hedlund, and Angel Mercer, who's a sexual predator, played by Tyrese Gibson. And then, of course, Andre 3000 plays Jeremiah, or Jerry as they call him. He has lived here in Detroit this whole time.
I think we're supposed to assume that he's the only human character, but it's...
I mean, we quite literally, when the cops are doing the, like, introducing us to all the characters, Terrence Howard's character, Lieutenant Green, says, he's one of the good ones. Which, okay.
Yikes. Who wrote this movie?
The guys in front of G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra. What do you mean?
I just want to put this out there. There was a largely black cast, and the movie ends with a white guy beating up a black guy. Just
While a circle of exclusively black guys and I guess one Italian man,
just
cheers them on.
Yeah, it's a very... What is this movie?
Very weird. So after the brothers are assembled, they, of course, led by the hot-headed Bobby Mercer, decide to go out on a rampage to find the killers of their mother.
There's no other explanation. They're just like, let's just go out there and try to go just on a murder mission.
Yeah, their first move is to start pulling guns on people.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, honestly. Yeah. And also, they don't really have an establishment of what their morality is. Like, we don't know these people at all. And so when you like started pouring gasoline on people, I'm like, are they actually gonna? They do a lot of threatening with gasoline in this movie.
Yeah, it's not just in this movie. When he gets the gasoline from the trunk to go threaten all the people who just wanted to go hang out in the warehouse at night, Jack says, "Are we gonna do the gasoline thing again?" It's not the first time they poured gasoline on somebody. This is a move of theirs. Yeah, it's a bad look for the Mercer brothers.
Yes.
So during this rampage, I mean, it's basically like a series of events that we'll sort of address later in the podcast. But basically, they are tracking down clues. They're torturing people that then
they are torturing people. This is
they
pretty
give
much
them names, and they go torture that person, and then eventually they get to the end, which we discover that Victor Sweet, who is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is, I think, the most evil gangster ever.
I texted you. I think like he's like cartoonishly.
He's like cartoonishly evil, but he fits it. Like if like think about
he fits
this.
in the fictional universe that like you have to make the bad guy so much worse than the good people in this movie.
Well, Bobby Mercer is the good guy in this movie, right?
Which is a very just
so if Bobby Mercer's your good guy,
you're racist,
how bad
homophobic.
Does your bad guy have to be?
That's really fucking true because Bobby is not a great person whatsoever.
Yeah,
he's a really bad guy.
Yeah. So the brothers discover it's Victor Sweet, and there's many shootouts, including the one you were describing before, Corey, where Victor Sweet sends like an army, basically like a paramilitary squad to the brothers' house to kill them all, and of course tragically, Jack, I'm not a character, I'm a gay joke Mercer, dies, and we're supposed to feel an emotion. I tried. It didn't work.
My favorite part of the scene was when he kept on shouting back at Bobby while he was like violently bleeding out on the sidewalk, and all I could think is, there's no fucking way in hell that Bobby could hear that shit. No, he couldn't hear. He's like he keeps shouting back at him. Loud, why would you keep shouting like, "Hey, what's up?" Like right where I'm at, so you can shoot me.
Yeah, it's
The wildest part about that scene was at the very end. These kids were playing hockey in front of the house at the very end. I'm like, if I had a kid, you are not playing hockey in front of the house that just got shot up by assault rifles.
Although, if you're a Detroit parent and you forbid your kids from playing on a street where people have been shot, you really can't.
There was an army. There was an army, Che. There was like at least 10 people there.
I'm not arguing with you.
With submachine guns.
It's an insane scene. And basically they lose to 2 guys with 3 guns and a brick. Is how that scene goes.
I forgot about the brick.
During this whole time where the 4 Mercer brothers are tracking down the killer of their mother and why their mother was killed, because of course, I guess I didn't say this, but it turns out that she was targeted, not just killed in a accident. But
why was she targeted?
So she is, I guess not blackmailing, but she's like going after. They use the word going after. Councilman, I can't remember his name. The guy played by Barry Henley. The councilman is played by Barry Henley, who is in the pocket of Victor Sweet. And again, this whole movie's fucking convoluted, but I think it's very convoluted. Victor Sweet is blackmailing Jerry Mercer because Jerry Mercer wouldn't pay the bribes he had to pay to get the like basically anybody who's watched The Sopranos knows if you're ever doing a construction job, you have to pay the mob for some reason.
That's just how it works.
Yeah, so he didn't do that. So they shut him down. He couldn't build his high-rise condos that he was trying to build in Detroit. And because of that, Evelyn Mercer, his mother, is going after the councilman and Victor Sweet. And they kill her, even though they have successfully shut down the...
Yeah, no, I'm asking, like, why did they kill her? Because she's one... I mean, like, this is... Like, listen, she's one random woman going after, what the fuck is she going to do? Like...
Well, they killed her, Corey, because otherwise there's no movie.
That's very fair. I really do feel like the idea definitely came for these foster kids are going after... Like, these adopted kids are going after the murder of their adopted mother. But how do we make a rest of a movie?
This is a movie that I think was quite literally written in reverse. I think somebody was like, I want to shoot a scene where 2 men fight each other at the polar ice caps. How do we get Michigan. There?
Okay, we'll make it on Lake Michigan. Wait, hold on. What? Shut up. Why are they there? Why couldn't these be anywhere? Shut up. That's where they are.
And will one of our heroes seemingly walk from?
Yeah, from where? From nowhere.
The highway, I guess.
Yeah, like he just we don't. They seem like to be pretty far into.
They drove on the ice for a really long time.
And did he park his car? Like, okay, this is when I make my dramatic walk. Like, how did he time it up perfectly?
I don't know. There's a lot of walking out of frozen tundras in this movie. But either way, we'll close out the plot really quickly. So basically, during this whole plot where the Mercer brothers are discovering that who killed their mother was Victor, on the orders of Victor Sweet, through the guys, the councilmen, and then the police officers that did it. We discover the two police officers who were on this case, Lieutenant Green, played by Terrence Howard, and I'm sure in real life, perfectly lovely man, Josh Charles.
I actually can't confirm this because I weirdly met him and
Really?
talked with him. I met him and talked with him for like a good 20 minutes. Really, really nice guy.
Yeah, but in his entire career, I think literally since the closing day on Dead Poet Society, has never played somebody who isn't evil.
I can't remember what it was like. I saw him like something like weirdly like the week before. I just like happened to like be in the same like shoot at the same shoot as him, and he was just like, "You're just a bad person," and he's like, "It's very nice."
I think that's actually how it goes. The people that play the worst people are usually the nicest actors, and then the people who play heroes are dickheads for some reason.
Is that why we're just both horrible people in real life?
I'm very nice. I don't know what you're saying. Josh Charles, actually, I forgot this, the dirty cop in another Curse of the Rewatch movie, SWAT.
I feel like I probably brought up this same story in SWAT then.
I think actually he probably didn't say the same thing in SWAT.
We've been doing it, guys. Listen, we've been doing this for over 50 episodes. Our stories will repeat sometimes.
It's not our fault that Josh Charles has one move in his career, all right? That's not our problem.
That's very fair.
But yes, of course, there's that subplot with him and Terrence Howard that, of course, ends in Terrence Howard turning his back on the man he just told he was gonna like arrest.
Yeah, one of the most insane like scenes where like him like trying to like surmise that he's like the crooked cop, and it was like the whole like the pool cue thing. I'm like, if I was ever a cop, which no, but if I ever was,
you're ever a cop, which no, I like that.
If I ever was, and I knew my partner was dirty, I would not be like, "You're dirty." Like, no, I'm like that's
you wouldn't confront him by yourself.
And also, like, yo, those bar patrons fucking suck. They're
well,
like,
that's the theme of this entire movie is that nobody seems to care if there are gunshots, who did them, why, or where they're coming from. They're just like, oh, somebody else got shot in Detroit.
If they actually signed off for this in Detroit, I just feel like this is like the opposite of like Come to Our City vibes.
Yeah, is this the worst? Is this the worst PR film for a single city since Escape from New York? There are parts. I mean, there are parts of The Wire where that makes Baltimore look like it does. I'm gonna ride for Baltimore, like a city with like interesting culture and stuff to do. I mean, it's not like a beautiful city. I'm not gonna lie to the listeners, but I go to Baltimore all the time to party because they have sick warehouses and cool art.
Very fair, but you're right.
There's nothing good in this movie.
Yeah, you're right. That's fair. There are literally nothing redeeming quality. It seems cold as hell, and there's just so much gunfire and violence that the cops will show up at the accused murderers, literally just joke about it, and then they leave.
Yeah, the scene where they're zipping up 10 bodies into body bags and
they're all just hanging out, or just like that's not how this works.
Yeah, he's like, oh, we'll just call this oh my god,
a wash, basically.
No. What did he says? Self-defense. It's just like you still have to like arrest them and bring them in for questioning, even if you think it's self-defense. Like if a guy breaks into my apartment and I stab him.
There were two black people there, and they're not in jail. Like, come on, this isn't realistic at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go down for some questioning if they was like, and then the weird thing is like they go for questioning after the murder of Victor Sweet, which literally makes even less sense for them to get beat up over. They should have been like arrested for the gunfight at their house more than the Victor Sweet thing. I don't actually even understand what the fuck that scene was about, because they're like, what happened to this guy? How do they even know he's just missing? It seems like it had happened in the same fucking day. Why am I asking all these questions?
Yeah, I think you're thinking too hard about this movie. That I think kind of none of it makes any sense.
I know they wanted them to be like getting beat up in a and like making jokes.
It's a movie that's made backwards. Some people had ideas about scenes. We want to have a scene where some people are getting beat up by cops and they get threatened with a hair that clearly wasn't taken from a body. We see a lot of dirty cops in this movie.
Mostly dirty cops.
Yeah, I think basically entirely dirty cops.
I think everybody
the one who dies.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just. It's not a good movie. What can I say?
No, it's not a good movie. But yeah, I mean, it's like I think this is probably the quickest we've ever been able to run down a plot, because it's basically she gets killed, things happen, bunch of torture during like everyone. They just assault a shit ton of people. Yeah. They break so many laws in this movie with literally zero repercussions.
None. I mean, there's no, like, they should have all been in jail after the guy they basically threw out of a window showed up in the hospital and was like, his bone is hanging out of his leg because he got thrown out of a window.
And like, people can connect them at the scene because Mark Wahlberg walked onto the middle of the basketball court, took the basketball, assaulted one of the players, and then said "Assalamu alaikum" on the way out. There's like, I would remember that guy. Also, he waved a gun around, and everyone's like.
Should we take a break and then come back and break down? We're basically already started doing it, but we should come back and break down all the things that are. We'll start with what's good. That'll be short. Don't worry, and then we'll talk about what's bad in this movie, Corey.
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
Where's your car, Bobby? It's not outside.
We left it at Jeremiah's.
Yeah. Jerry drove us home. You know, Volvos are one of the safest cars out there. Volvos are incredible, man, when it's a blizzard outside.
That's fascinating. Hey, Gretzky, you know what this is?
A hair from your wife's tit?
Try it from your thick skull. Forensics took it off a pair of contract killers we found dead this morning.
Fishing for a confession with a phony hair, huh? That's an old one, boys. Come on, Green. You know when I'll know you got my hair off a dead body, right? When I hear the jailhouse doors close behind me, girls.
Okay, then you tell me what they told you. You think that these thugs were hired to kill Evelyn? Is that it?
And we're back.
What's up?
All right, it's time. For those of you who are familiar with the format of this particular episode, these Curse the Rewatch episodes, we're going to start with what's good. What's good about this movie? Corey and I, judging by our notes, both agree the soundtrack is amazing.
Soundtrack is very, very good. I mean, that's what I think that's what tricked me in the beginning of it, because the movie has a very soft beginning where I'm like, this is like, it's like motivation, start the plot, and no one's like really overacting. Yeah. And then even like the first song kicks in when they're at the before Thanksgiving scene. I'm like, this is like, okay, I like all the way this is composed, and the movie goes in the opposite direction. I actually
think I'm with you. And basically, the best part of this movie is the opening scenes. I think so. Here, my favorite moments are the Brothers Scouting Report, which we talked about, which is when the Lieutenant Green and Detective Fowler are sitting outside the Mercer house when the funeral's going on, and they like say what all the brothers have done and everything. I think we've gone on record in saying that whenever we do these kind of movies, that's one of our favorite scenes of like assembling the team, and the Scouting Report scenes are they never miss.
I think the Suicide Squad, like when we watched Suicide Squad, the bad one, I think that was the only scene that we both agreed on that we really liked.
Yeah.
Well, and the Will Smith, the insane one where he's just shooting in a fucking prison.
It's basically those are the two scenes.
Yes.
Yes. That's one of my favorite moments of the scene. I also. I do love is strong. I like the Thanksgiving morning scene when it's just the four brothers hanging out. They're fucking around with each other like brothers do. They end up wrestling. I
think the moment that the movie started going off the rails when Sofia Vergara showed up.
Oh, it's basically the turning point. Not anything against Sofia Vergara. It's not her fault.
It changes the tone of the movie completely. Like they could have not done that.
Yeah. It's basically
her character.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're supposed to be saying what's good about this movie.
I mean, that scene actually like, I would like to point it out because basically that scene when Tyrese is walking out of the house with his terrible, terrible shirt on that I guess was like the style in the 2000s. I don't really remember it that way, but sure. They're having like a pretty great moment where like Mark Wahlberg, Bobby Mercer can't sleep in his mother's room, so he goes into Jack's room to be with his brothers, and Jerry walks in, and they're like sharing like a genuinely. In a moment that makes sense. Their mother is just this woman they love. Their mother has just died, been killed.
And then one of the brother does one of the most insane things I could think of. The night I missed the funeral.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go try to.
That's never actually explained why he wasn't there.
Yeah, they don't bring it up. He's just not at the funeral, and then that same night he goes to sleep with a woman who has a boyfriend or something.
A character so lazily created that. Her name is Sophie. They didn't even name the character.
Wow.
I just listen. What people, and I actually don't think our listeners give a shit, but I think in general, when shitty men complain about when other men or really women talk about how women get treated in society, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There's never been a movie where there's just a guy whose job is to stand next to other women in scenes and just be hot.
Yeah, be hot and then like allude to sex the entire time, and
except
also
for Sebastian Stan in Corey's favorite movie, The 355.
We will tear down the 355 at some point. I don't know when I'm going to sit down and talk about that movie, but we are going to tear that one apart at some point, hopefully soon.
Yeah, it's just Sofia. Oh shit! It just coughed in my mouth. Sofia Vergara, who's like a decent actress, it's like it takes until she's in her mid to late 40s to get any roles that aren't. Hey, just wear the shortest skirt you can and the lowest cut top you can and stand over there. Your character's name is Sophie or Sophia.
Yeah, basically.
You're Latin.
What do
Don't
you
worry
do?
about
You're
it.
Latin. Say Spanish. Say some things in Spanish and yell, and like that's your role. I'm like, fuck, this sucks.
Be hot-headed. That's your
There's
character.
so much. It's just the movie is just like not even subtly racist. It's just racist all the way through.
It's not
just a lot of racism, just being like everybody's racist.
But we are getting distracted. This is the good part. Rough. I also have my third and last good moment of this movie is Victor abuses his employees, which really I just like that scene because Ejiofor is just a great actor. He's so good.
He's too good for this movie. It's like that's
much
the
too good
problem
for this movie.
because I mean like he's so like over the top evil, but he's acting so well that the scene I should just be like haha instead of being like this guy's fucking insane.
Also, I kind of do love the villain construction of like abuse your employees is like the most evil thing you can do, except for in real life we put those guys on the cover of Forbes magazine. Like he's basically making his delivery men pee in bottles is essentially what Victor Sweet does.
I mean effectively basically yes.
Yeah. But hey,
the whole the sit at the kids table like line I could
it's
not
actually
stop
it's kind of fucking funny.
I kind of wish he like let him live though. I don't know why I thought that would have been funnier if he just like made him sit there and be like just let him live.
Just let him sit at the kids table.
Yeah, just like that's his punishment for the day. Because I thought his like instead of like killing people, it seemed like his MO was just be like, let me just demean people and keep my day going.
Yeah, although I mean, of course, the whole point of this, of course, then comes back and bites him in the ass at the end of the movie, where none of his employees are willing to. Although I always wonder this in kind of every crime movie, even if they're not insanely evil bosses, why does any like gang member care who their boss is? Maybe I wouldn't know because I'm not in a gang, but if you like, especially like the Joker in the Batman movies, why are people willing to die for the Joker? It's like,
well, I mean, I kind of believe that more because he's just like batshit insane to people who follow him.
I guess
are under that same like,
so it's
mentality.
All fear?
Yeah, I think it's all. I guess it's all fear, but like I don't know. Like I feel like Joker's so comic booky that like you could believe that like he has like henchmen who are also equally crazy. Yeah. But like in real life, which is this is attempting to portray itself as being a part of it.
Although ironically, something the Joker would do is make one of his henchmen eat off the ground.
Well, I mean, exactly. But I mean, like whenever we see like a good villain in a movie, their employees usually like them.
Yeah.
Like they have like Kingpin. Let's say for Kingpin from the Daredevil TV show, where it's like he's like a piece of shit, but like it's either you get on his good side or he murders you. But it's just like this guy just like consistent demeaning people doesn't really produce the best results.
Yeah, I mean, I think
how does he have fun playing cards?
Well, that scene is very weird when he has to know all his employees are letting him win. I don't want to keep calling them employees, like they have like 401ks.
Say henchmen.
All his henchmen are like letting him win. Would not be fun poker. I love poker. If somebody was letting me win, I'd be incredibly bored.
If anybody like let me win at things, what's the point of it?
Yeah. Really, because it's already my money. Just give me my money back, I guess, if you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
What's the best moment of those three? What do you think?
Between
unless do you have any other nominations? Do you have any other?
No. I think I still it's okay. This is really weird, but I really do like the scene when they're all like crying.
Yeah.
I think that might be my best moment because I remember that scene when I was a kid watching it. I'm like, oh, I like this scene a lot, but and that's the one scene I've remembered about this movie. And then I'm like, oh, this movie might not be as bad as I remember. And then it becomes as bad as I remembered it was when Sofia Vergara's character was thrust into the film.
Even that scene, it's weird because I'm like, and we can say a lot of things about Mark Wahlberg, but I think Mark Wahlberg's like a decent actor when he wants to be.
I mean, yeah,
That
I
scene
think so
is
too.
not like a very good acting. His crying scene in the mirror is very weirdly.
It's very weird, yeah.
And this is not like Mark Wahlberg's debut film. Like,
no, he's been around for a while at this point.
I always find it, I mean, as somebody who's never acted in my life except for outside of my middle school plays, and I wasn't good in those.
No, you were not.
Wow, okay, Jesus.
No, I just wanted to keep you, I gotta keep you humble. I'm gonna lie to you.
Thank you. That's what I keep you around for, Corey. I'm surprised that that he delivered that, because this is 1 year removed. It's 1 year before The Departed, in which I think he's amazing. In a role that's like kind of nothing.
He got nominated for an Oscar for that role.
And 2 years after The Italian Job, a movie that I know is bad, but I simply do not care.
So I like the intention of the scene and the way they composed it, but the
acting
in the scene is not great.
It's a good idea and it works well. I just wish
Mark Wahlberg
act.
is supposed to be the best actor out of those four, like this, like resume wise, and he's still probably the best one in that scene, but it's not a good scene. Yeah, but his like crying was like, this is not.
It's like a 90s music video level of acting.
Yeah, I'm like just if he's gonna look like that, just don't show his face. You can just, there's different ways to show emotion than whatever the fuck that was.
Well, that brings us to, well, actually, wait, so of those four, what's your favorite? Is your favorite the
I think my favorite's
crying scene?
Yeah, I think my favorite's still the crying scene. The soundtrack for that scene. I think it's a great song to choose to it.
Yeah, I think I'm going with the Thanksgiving morning, because this movie sort of rests on the fact that you believe these four are brothers, and the one believable thing about this movie is I actually believe that these four people grew up together. Yes,
I think the chemistry between those four, it feels very realistic.
Yeah, well, those three and then Garrett Hedlund. It's not.
Well, it's hard to freaking bond with someone who keeps calling, who only refers to you by something that we don't actually like. It's not confirmed or not. Yeah, and weird. I was also wondering, like, how successful is he actually, like, as a rock? Like,
he does. After he says "I like boobs," he also says "I have fans." So
I'm like, is he like actually? And like at the end of when they're doing the whole weird like little moments in their lives thing, it's like he's at a concert.
Strange.
Which is so weird because he's dead. I'm like, okay, is this supposed to be a flashback or is he in heaven?
Well, the Mark Wahlberg one was definitely a flashback because they talk about how he got cut from the team, and that's the team
yeah, that's right.
So,
you know what? Actually, my dumbass brain was like, he got back into hockey. Good for him. That was where my brain went.
We're gonna talk about the hockey scene in this movie in a minute, but yeah, I think those. So you're going with the crying scene after the funeral. I'm going with Thanksgiving morning, and that brings us neatly, after the discussion of Mark Wahlberg's acting in this film, to what's the best performance. I kind of think there's only one nomination. If you have another one, please give it to me. My nomination is Chiwetel Ejiofor, and that's the end of the list.
I agree. I don't think there needs to be a discussion about it.
Andre 3000 is doing his best. He's not in the movie enough, nor does he really get to do much of anything except for be sad and then angry, and that's about it.
The most confusing thing about this movie called Four Brothers is that one of the brothers is just not in the majority of the film.
It's an interesting, because like Andre 3000, like it was like, was he busy or something? I don't really understand why he's not in the movie.
And they really could have probably kept this whole plot line of like paying off things and all that other stuff, and still have kept him involved in those other scenes. Because truthfully, if you're supposed to be like Tyrese and Mark Wahlberg's character are very like the pro-violence one, and then the other one who I don't remember his fucking name, Jack. Jack is supposed to be like the nervous one, but they don't ever have like a sense of consciousness, like like there's no conscious, whatever the fuck, you know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm tired, guys. There's no sense of that, so like the entire time I'm like, there's no one really to tell these guys not to do something.
Right. Yeah, no, it's odd.
So like I feel like you could have used that character to at least like they fucking murder two guys just in the snow, like just full on, just like that scene is dark.
Talk about that, don't worry.
Yeah. But I think I think so too.
I've got 2 nominations for best lines before we move on to what's bad about this movie. If you've got any others, throw them in. First up, I just like the rhythm of this line. I'm not sure it's very clever or anything, but it's a funny thing when Mark Wahlberg says it. The Bobby says, "I used to make a good living around here because cops like you couldn't find tits in a strip club." It's just funny to me.
That's funny. That's a good one.
And then this part it's one of those lines that is so bad it's good, because I think this actually genuinely intentionally bad. It's when the cops come to the house after the I guess chase scene is the best way to put it, between these two cars, and they're asking about where Bobby's car is at. Tyrese Angel chirps up with, Volvos are one of the safest cars out there. Volvos are incredible, man, when there's a blizzard outside. I don't understand why he says it. Did Volvo pay for that line?
I don't know. I feel like it seems like one of those like kind of improv lines, though. I don't know why.
Improv an ad about Volvos?
It seems a lot more likely than someone writing down, well, okay, make sure Andre drives a Volvo. I don't know.
It's great. I just, whatever it is, I love it.
You know, like, yeah, like, it's like, I'm sure Detroit loved it that the one car brand that you mentioned in the film.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Volvos famously, where are they?
Not
Swedish. They're
yes.
Swedish cars.
Yes. Famously not American.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, they could have just said Ford. And then...
They could have had any other car. Any other car. Wow. They could have given him any other car.
Do you have any other lines that you liked, or?
No, I honestly think that's it. I didn't like. I think I was watching it.
It's not a very well written movie, and I think.
No, so I think I was like kind of just like zoned out most of it. That I wasn't even like picking up people's lines. Like most of my notes were just like, why are they so homophobic? But it was just a lot. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. But it's funny. I think like I left a note for myself for that emotional scene that I like so much. In the first part of it is just Tyrese, and there's just like a picture of an ass just sitting over. There's like over it, so he's like bent over crying.
I missed that.
And there's just like it's because I think it was believed that this like they haven't touched their like room since they were kids. But I'm like,
well, there is that line when Bobby is sitting in Jack's room in that scene, or later in that scene, and he says, they referencing his mother, she didn't even change anything about this place. And that's why he was like, it's weird to sleep in her room because it's exactly the same as when they left. Which, it's unclear. That's the other thing. The timeline of this movie is just odd. Like, when did they move out? Jerry's never left Detroit. That's the whole reason that he's been paying her bills and all that stuff that comes up later. But, like, Bobby went to prison. Angel was in the military, which is patently insane.
Especially insane because he was dual-wielding pistols.
Yeah, and it's also, as far as I know, not being a military guy myself, I don't think you can have full-ass back tattoos in the military.
I think you can.
Can you?
I think you just can't have...
Oh, okay.
I truthfully don't know.
He has tattoos all down his arm, too, though, which we see.
I truthfully don't know. I remember stupid ROTC rules.
I just remember he had like triple X tattoos on. I was like,
I loved Mark Wahlberg's No Mercy tattoo on his shoulders. Like that's the only tattoo that he showed. It was very clear they wanted to show that tattoo.
I think isn't that a real Mark Wahlberg tattoo though?
You know what? Honestly, ever since the Ben Affleck tattoos incident, I will believe anything.
What was Ben thinking? Should we do a podcast on Ben Affleck's tattoo?
Yes.
Just a whole
yes, please.
2-hour breakdown of every inch of what was going on when he did that.
I would love that, actually.
It's, I mean, listen, apologies to the man. We love a lot of stuff that Ben Affleck does. That's a shit tattoo.
It's a really bad tattoo. I don't believe that Mark Wahlberg has a No Mercy tattoo on his back.
Okay, fair enough.
But that is a really rough tattoo.
All right. It's time to move on to what was bad about this movie, and strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. There is a lot.
A lot. First off, I mean, we already noted this several times.
Lots of homophobia.
A lot of homophobia. All right, let's move on. Because good Lord, that's most of the film.
I know. Listen, I guess it probably would have been worse if they had asked him to like do a Detroit accent or whatever. But famous Atlantan Andre 3000.
Yes.
With strong Southern accent in this movie and in real life, is revealed to have been born and raised and essentially never left the city of Detroit in this movie.
I don't understand what the problem is.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just asking questions, I guess.
You are 100% right, though. That's
it's
weird choice.
Very strange. Of these people, the only person that's born, raised, or sounds anything like they're from near Detroit is, of course, Garrett Hedlund, who is from Minnesota himself, which is not Detroit. I guess people from Michigan hate Minnesota. I don't know. You're all the same to me.
Yeah. I'm assuming everybody talks like they're from Fargo. That's all I really know about you guys.
Cold places with no culture. So
yeah, exactly. Sucks.
Actually, apologies, Detroit. Detroit's got some fire.
No, I have many friends from Michigan who are going to be mad at me.
We've already addressed this, but just again into my notes, there are no consequences in this movie for anybody shooting guns anywhere, anytime they want.
It's such a weird idea to be like the police exist and we're gonna have characters about the police, but then just conveniently not have police officers like present when they should be.
It's a common in action movies. You're often just made to forget the existence of police. You're just like, yes, I understand that everyone's driving around shooting guns at each other in the middle of this busy city. Sure, just forget that cops exist. It's a leap of faith that you often have to make in action movies. Usually, a major plot line of those same movies is not police chasing your characters and trying to stop them from doing these things.
Exactly. It's just like, stop. Like, we don't care.
It would be like in the Fast and Furious movies if there was also a B plot about the cops who kept showing up to all the Fast and Furious things. Oh wait, that did happen.
Well, I think that was the first one or the second one. They did that.
I know. I was joking. The fucking Rock is in. It was a Fast.
Oh 8. Yeah, I fucking my brain was still Too Fast, Too Furious. Honestly, there's 9 of them. So, there's 9 of these movies.
I still haven't seen Fast 9, but I heard confirmations. I guess they can spoil it now. They did genuinely go to space.
They genuinely went to space, which is genuine space.
What's Vin doing? What do you think Vin's up to?
They brought in Jason Momoa for the next one just to replace The Rock, apparently. So just.
I still can't believe there's a next one. That is the last one, though, right?
No, I think they're going to 11.
Stop it. All right. What's the point of the scene at the lawyer's house? I guess this could have been in nitpicks.
To let us know. To let us know that their mom was still having sex.
Is that important for character development?
No.
I'm just curious. Okay.
Nope.
Because the lawyer doesn't seem to do. He's not like that doesn't advance the plot. Doesn't really give us any more information.
Yeah, and even I think he's later used to figure out that the cop was dirty.
Yes, but we could have just had that scene.
We could have it was very
because the lawyer's already been introduced before that.
And he could have just that scene could have been completely deleted from the film, and I think we would have been just okay.
Yep.
And I'm like, I felt bad because they're just beating up more beating up an old man now.
And he's immediately okay with it when Mark Wahlberg gives him the most tepid apology of all time.
Yes,
it's like, sorry, man, we love our mom. It's like,
what was
and
yeah, exactly.
Fuck you and your mom. Don't come to my house and beat me in the snow.
You broke into my house, yo. And Sofia Vergara, I don't even understand what that character was supposed to be doing right there. Because do you want him to get arrested? Is that the entire motivation behind you showing up right now? Because from my understanding is that you want to hang out with him. So going to this apparently loaded neighborhood, blaring on a horn and saying these people are robbing this house is not really necessarily the move to get him to come back and hang out with you some more.
Yeah, I mean, as we already talked about, nobody acts like a human in this movie.
No, that's very fair. I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm sorry. just frustrating.
Yeah, it's not great. Let's see. I have a couple more notes. It would take. This is not really a note, but it's just a discussion point, I guess. It would take. I have a sister. I have a couple half brothers, all of which I love a great deal. It would take a lot for me to think that any of my siblings conspired to and or killed my parents, either one of them, and that a lot does not include $400,000.
Yeah,
they seem to believe very quickly that Jerry had their mother killed.
That, which is, first off, that is insane. Agreed.
It's crazy.
But I love the explanation. And he was like, "Why would you making deposit in life insurance? I was paying her bills,
paying all her bills, guys.
You asshole!" And I love that. It was just like, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you guys are bad sons, and then you're accusing the one son who's been the good son. He's like, I didn't even know mom knew about that shit. And it's just like, yeah, okay, that's fair. That's
yeah. All right, my last note. Is
very quickly turned on them.
Is Jack is not a character.
No.
When he gets killed, what am I supposed to be sad about?
Honestly, I was more like the way that they had him get shot up and die was a lot longer than I expected it to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, and honestly, shout out to Garrett Hedlund, probably the best he's acted in any movie ever. Is the scene where he's yelling Bobby. And...
That was it was a rough, because okay, another thing about the movie is like the tonal shifts would be like, oh haha,
it's true. It would be
shoot him up, and then out of nowhere be like, yo, that kind of was a bit fucked up. Like
doesn't that scene start with like, oh no, that scene starts with them accusing Jerry of having their mother killed. Right.
Yes. So Andre 3000 got punched in the face like 3 different times, and then has to be involved in this insane, weird like gun, the Jason mask with the snowball thing.
Yeah, I still I'm kind of like that construction of that scene where like
it starts. I mean, like the action in the scene, like the layout of that scene, it does make sense pacing wise.
It's kind of like it's kind of like the Jon Snow scene in Battle of the Bastards, right? Like the whole point is to use their hot-headedness against them to separate the armies, not to compare this bad thing to that amazing episode of television. But
could have fucking Serpentine fucking little shit.
Also, could have as soon as you open the door, shot him in the face because they had an army of people coming. But
I didn't really understand the whole like because he shot him in the middle of the street. And I'm like, you're just gonna get shot like immediately. Like you're like no cover, honestly.
Yeah. Not great.
No. But it worked. It gives you motivation, and you want to see them get the thing, and blah blah blah. So I forgot that they killed him. Honestly,
it's like the only scene I actually remembered from this movie is that him dying.
It's like I think it's really funny because I mean his character is there to die. His character is there to up the stakes even more.
Yeah, I mean I'm a little bit surprised it wasn't Sofia Vergara's character who got killed.
I mean, like,
that's the kind of movie we're in.
Are there anybody in here that's actually a character? Because I'm like, I guess like the main characters of the movie are technically Mark Wahlberg and Tyrese.
Yeah, I mean,
they're the main characters, right? Like basically.
Mm-hmm. Oh. No, there's. I mean, there really aren't. I mean, it's hard. Like again, it's basically
called Two Brothers.
It's the entire refrain of this movie, but it's hard to have character development when nobody in your movie acts like a character. It's like which is it's kind of the entire problem with this movie, which we will get to soon. Don't worry, guys. When we fix this movie, how to fix this movie, I think is actually pretty simple in a lot of ways. But let's do these worst lines really quick. So
sure thing.
I've got 5 nominees. If you want to throw in any others, go for it. But first up, it's not really a line, but it's. I mean, I'm just gonna tip my hat here. This one's gonna win. But every time Bobby says "La Vida Loca." It's not a joke.
That's just Mark Wahlberg's character is a straight up racist. Like it is just like not acknowledged. He's just racist.
It has the tone of a joke, but it's not a joke. So then we have after that Bobby also. I didn't realize most of these were Bobby. Bobby saying they killed cornbread, which on the surface is not like that bad of a line, but if you know the reference, which is from a 1975 film called Cornbread, Earl and Me, which is really a pretty serious, heartfelt drama. First movie that Lawrence Fishburne was ever in, by the way, about police brutality. The scene that's referenced in They Killed Cornbread is 2 cops kill an innocent black man because he was jogging somewhere, and then they proceed to get assaulted by a neighborhood in New York City. Basically, the entire neighborhood stomps out 2 cops. That's the joke, quote unquote joke that Bobby's making here when he's invading a block party to pour gasoline on some innocent teens. Didn't love that personally, I'll have to say. We've also got Bobby saying, "I'm gonna get my brother to suck your burnt dick," which
that was pretty fucked up.
Insanity. It's an insane thing to say. We've got Jack, so this is the only non-Bobby line in this one. Jack, in response to being told that he likes ass cracks and ball sacks, another gay joke, by the way, Jack says, and this is a quote, "Jack doesn't like ass crack and ball sacks. Jack likes boobs." It's just some shit. And then last, but very much not least, I don't even remember who he's talking to. Who's he talking to in this? Bobby says, "Treating you like a house nigga." Bobby, by the way, played by Mark Wahlberg. I think the whitest man on planet Earth, right?
Oh, he's talking to the gangster who at the bowling alley.
Right. Yes. Oh, that's right. He says that in front of his kids and his wife.
Yeah, I was
recently watched him eat off the ground.
I was like watching the movie. I'm like, he's gonna say nigga at some point in this movie. Like I was just waiting for it because I'm like they're letting because they're trying to treat Mark Wahlberg like, oh, he can say it. They're trying to give him that pass with all of his no.
Yeah, there's that other
not
line,
Mark Wahlberg.
There's the other line when he's talking to Angel as Angel's about to leave the house to go meet up with Sophie, and he's like, which is actually like a pretty funny line, but I couldn't put it in here simply because of the end of it. He's like, she's got somebody else's hard dick in her, screaming somebody else's name. She's not thinking about your black ass. And that's the first time he says something like vaguely racist in the movie. And I was like, oh no, this character's not going to be fun to hang out with.
It was just, it's just like, oh, this is the direction that we're going. Because I forgot, it was like, oh no. And then the homophobia started kicking in. I'm like, oh, this is just his character. This every time he interacts with them is just something like veiled in that.
Yeah. Although, based on my new favorite television show of all time, Mayor of Kingstown, if you go to jail, you become a racist. So maybe it's not Mark Wahlberg's fault that he's a racist in this movie.
Fair. That's so fair.
You also need to watch Mayor of Kingstown, but that's unrelated.
Didn't you say it was bad?
No. It's amazing.
Okay.
I mean, it's not good, but it's amazing.
Stop it. That's how I watched the 355. You motherfucker.
355, I had fun. I genuinely had fun. I'm surprised you didn't have fun. Either way.
I don't know. I was,
Those are my 5 nominees. Do you have any more you want to throw in there?
No. I think you covered them all.
What's the winner?
Blacked out.
Is the winner La Vida Loca, or is something else upsetting the
I think
winner?
Burnt Dick. I think the Burnt
Dick is rough.
I can't remember. I don't remember what the line was though when Jack is dying.
Oh, I think stay with me, fairy.
I think that might be my worst line because of on many levels of how bad that line is. That probably is that is probably the worst line. In the
guess we could just umbrella all the racist and homophobic stuff Jack says in this movie.
So pretty much everything that Bobby says in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it doesn't concern directly his mother or killing someone, he's pretty just...
And sometimes when it concerns killing someone.
And sometimes when it's killing... Yeah.
All right, yeah, we'll just lump them all into one category. Basically, Bobby's racism and homophobia is our least favorite lines.
We got to get rid of
that. Worst moment. I've got, what is this? I got 6 nominees. I'll run through them really quickly. We've got the Turkey Cup, which I will talk about why I hate this so much in a second. We've got the basketball game, which we've already sort of addressed. The snow car chase with 2 cars from the 1970s. I just think genuinely slapstick comedy.
That's what it was funny to me. I actually had fun with it because I'm like, this is just so ridiculous.
It's so stupid that it's hilarious.
And they're banter in the car, and then they fucking kill those 2 guys like in cold blood. That's the weird thing about the scene. Like, haha, this scene was fun, and then it's just
they don't even pretend to ask them any questions.
No, they don't. They just beat the shit out of them and then they shoot them.
I've got the bathroom scene, which. Again, like I said, I've got siblings myself. Love them dearly. I'm never taking a shit while my sister's in the shower ever.
No, and then I'm never going. I'm not going in to talk to someone and then ask if I have a VD. Like honestly, there's just a lot of things wrong with that.
Although you know what, with the American healthcare system, it's not like you can just go to the doctor or anything. So
that's very fair.
And we've got the pool room confrontation, which. I think the problem I have with this scene is that it's the oh my god, what is the Predator's Annihilation? No. That's
I didn't see that.
What's the most recent after Prometheus with the flute scene?
Alien Covenant.
Yes. So my problem with Alien Covenant, and I think this is the worst example of it ever, but it happens mostly.
I could not wait to see where you're going with this one.
I got you.
Okay, all right.
Alien Covenant. The problem with that movie, it looks very cool. I love alien movies. The action's pretty sick, honestly. The problem with that movie is that all of the human beings are too stupid to connect with. They don't even try to save their own lives. They do the dumbest things possible, and because of the things they do, they die. Not because the alien outsmarts them and kills them. The reason that Lieutenant Green dies in this movie, in this pool scene, is not because he's outsmarted by Detective Fowler. It's because he does the dumbest thing that anybody could ever do in this moment.
Because he outsmarts him, and he's like, I'm going to go talk to him.
Yeah, he walks out the door.
Like, my also thing is, like, he knew he was crooked. Like, I don't even know what he was confirming. Like, it was like, he was like 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, cool, I got to go file some case report shit. I'll talk to you later. I'll see you tomorrow, some shit like that. That would have been different, but...
It's honestly, it's worse than Jack's death in a lot of ways because it's not like we even are supposed to care about Lieutenant Green before this scene.
Yeah, like seems like an okay guy so far, but like, not really much to go off of.
And I wrote this down as the Ice Road Trucker meeting, but it's basically the fist fight at the end of the movie. That's my last nomination.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb that they had to end the movie like, let's just let these two guys fight for some reason because.
And also, like, weird. What if he beat Bobby? He'd get to leave.
Yeah, I don't know where they were headed with that. Because also, let's also put an example earlier in the movie where they thought they found the killers for their mom, and they just shot him.
Just shot him.
So what is the reason that they were like, okay, because they had to set that shit up. They had to set up. There's a lot of layers to that. Okay, first off, we're paying off all the gangs to agree with this.
Yeah.
For some reason, we somehow got these men with chainsaws to cut open a hole. Never said why the hole was there, because I think the insinuation was.
Well, I think they're supposed to be dumping Jerry's body in there. That's the plan. That's what Vic thinks the plan is they're going to take the money.
Did he confirm that? I thought for some.
I think that's why he doesn't seem surprised there's a giant hole in. I think so, right? Because when Jerry walks up, he goes, "What the fuck
absolutely.
Is that?" And like, Vic likes to go ice fishing, is what they say.
I don't know. I thought the insinuation I was telling him, at least from their conversation, was he was going to actually let Jerry go. I don't know why. I kind of thought we were doing the whole like, maybe he has some kind of integrity or whatever, but that's very fair. But I think
you're supposed to believe he's just going to kill him and throw him in the ice is the plan.
But I like these guys with chainsaws to be like, yeah, I'm just here for murder job, I guess. They don't even like join in. They'd be like, okay, I'm just going to sit over there then.
There's also so many people there.
There's a lot of people there.
It's like 12 guys
for one dude.
Yeah, one guy who's like a real estate agent, basically.
Yeah, like he's like not gonna do anything.
No. I guess we have to talk about my first two nominations because we didn't really go over those. The Turkey Cup is the scene where they all play hockey together, but I mean, maybe you could tell me this, Corey, because I think you've gone to a few hockey games.
Yeah, I've been to hockey.
I don't really like hockey. I've only really watched like clips that sometimes come across my Instagram.
I know hockey. I've seen some games. I've watched the movie Miracle. I know.
Do they
I know
assault each other in hockey?
Yes. Basically,
but like all they're doing in this scene,
the scene's
slamming into each other.
Yeah, the scene's pretty dumb because like if you're doing this like in a assuming pickup hockey game, listen, we both grew up in Maryland. We don't fucking do pickup hockey.
Yeah, we play pickup lacrosse, guys.
Yeah, well, no, we don't do that either. No, we don't do any of that shit. But I'm saying, if the case being, if someone just keeps like knocking you on your ass, you're gonna get in a fight, like eventually.
Yeah. It seems like a scene, and listen, John Singleton knows a lot of great things. He's a great man. I don't think he was a big hockey fan. It really looks like a scene shot by a guy who doesn't know anything about hockey.
That's what
I think that's the scene I would have shot if I was making a hockey movie.
Yeah, it was like, what do? They just like run into each other, right? Do we even see them like hit the puck?
No, actually, the only thing we see them hit is when Bobby hits Jerry's phone away. Nice, that clean was funny, slap shot. Actually,
that was pretty funny though. But yeah, I think. Oh yeah, another like homophobic line in that. It's like, can make a man out of you. I'm like, what the fuck is going?
Well, there's a scene where Tyrese, I think he body checks another guy or punches him in the face or some other insanely violent thing while they're playing this sport with strangers, and he just goes, "Yeah, nigga." To who are you talking to? What's going on here? It's just a terribly structured scene.
Oh man.
And then, of course, the basketball game, which we have to dive deep into this basketball game really quick, Corey.
There's a lot of layers to why this is so stupid.
What
first off,
happening?
Okay, so first off, we're led there by the convenience store owner.
Yeah.
Because
actually, I think that probably should have been in our best moment scene. I think that's a genuinely good scene.
That guy's also like he doesn't say much, but that guy was very, very good as an actor. Just it was them watching their mother gets killed is actually a pretty good scene. But then the problem is you get these fucking breakneck to the basketball scene. So they're led there to look for this
like
the alleged witness for this. And to do so, he's at a basketball game. So to do so, Mark Wahlberg does the totally... Okay, hold on. Let's stop right there. We're not told... I think we're supposed to assume that this basketball game is supposed to be a bunch of high schoolers. That's what they kind of seem like.
That can't be what we're supposed to assume, because that's not what high schoolers look like.
They do not. They look old. They look like they're in their
40-year-old men.
They look old. And so we don't know why they're playing basketball. Yeah. Apparently it's the regionals. Regionals for what exactly? I don't know. Listen, I've been to some like adult basketball games who are like non-professionally. I've been to D-League games. They're not that packed. They are never that packed.
Right. That's the thing. If it was just an empty-ish gym with like a couple guys playing basketball on the court, you could have them be any age. Like I've been to LA Fitness and there's just dudes hooping in LA Fitness all day long, but there's not a bunch of people cheering in the stands, and they also are not wearing like uniform. They have like matching uniforms on, and there are 2 referees with fucking striped black referee shirts on. This is an official thing. What's this official thing in Detroit with 40-year-old men playing basketball against each other? This is
what you do. Apparently, what you do in this neighborhood. So during the scene, like Mark Wahlberg takes the ball at center court, and then he stops the game.
Also, is Mark Wahlberg 4'3"?
Yeah, he's very short. No, he's very, very short.
It actually looks hilarious. He's like trying to be intimidating, dribbling the ball. He's like, "What? I got the ball," and everyone is 3
But he's saying also he's doing that weird thing where it's like, "Yo, I got the ball." Where it's like this is subtle racism again. It's like this little microaggression of racism that Mark Wahlberg is doing. Was he told to do this by the director, or is just Mark Wahlberg? Honestly,
I think Mark Wahlberg thinks he's black.
Yeah.
In real life.
I think this movie might have tricked Mark Wahlberg into thinking he was cooler than he was.
Well, hold on. Mark Wahlberg started off as a rapper. I think Mark Wahlberg thought he was cool.
With Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, can we really call him a rapper?
I'm not making that. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying technically.
Technically, but I mean kind of like lumping him more towards Vanilla Ice than like anything else.
I think Vanilla Ice thinks that Vanilla Ice is cool.
Have you seen a picture of Vanilla Ice recently?
No.
He looks like he thinks he's cool.
I'm quickly Googling it.
Quickly Google Vanilla Ice. Yeah, so he interrupts the game, takes the basketball, assaults one of the basketball players, and then takes out a gun. And then he starts asking questions.
He doesn't even ask questions. He's like, he's just like telling you what's going on.
Yeah, he's like.
He also says his full fucking name.
It's insane. Like he
wants to go to jail, honestly.
And then it's like after that they say what they're doing, and then everyone, it's the same fucking thing. When you hear someone's description, you don't just leave and say, "Oh shit." You don't do that. Like if it's like so someone's like describing Che to me, and I'm in the stands, I'm like, well, I ain't gonna fucking move. Then I think I look suspicious. So they get the
if he had just sat in his seat, they would have never been able to figure out who his brother was.
Exactly. And then after this, so they get information after threatening another child. Go up and they find his brother, and then they drop him out of a window, basically.
Can we back up a little bit and just ask you, how did they figure out where his brother was? Because that scene ends, and all they figured out is he lives with him, but they don't know where he lives, do they?
They have like a piece of paper. I think it was like something with an address.
They take his address or something.
They found something in the paper and like, oh, that's the place right over there or something.
Okay.
They acknowledge that. They don't give him. What the weird thing is, they have the building number, but they don't have the apartment number.
He just happens to be coming into his
apartment. It's like a lot of things just kind of happen in this movie, out of pure luck. So they get lucky. They do a chase, and then you're right, Che. Though, like when the guy who's bleeding out and with his fucking shin broken, I wonder who did this. Was it the guy who was also allegedly involved in something, who was waving a gun around this? You can't do that. He should be in jail just straight up from that one thing. Because he insulted an innocent bystander.
It's kind of a good thing that Detective Crowler and Green don't make it out of this movie, because they should have been going to jail for whatever you charge cops for when they let people get killed. Yeah, if they just arrested these 4 brothers, or I guess 3 of them, because Jerry's just not doing anything. He's at home chilling. If they had arrested these 3 brothers, then like 5 people don't die. No, not even. It's like 15 people don't die.
I remember because I was like loved Andre 3000 when cause I think I watched the movie because of him initially, and he was just missing for all the movies, from the entire movie when I was a kid. I'm like, this isn't fun. I'm not having a fun time here. This is dumb.
So what's the worst scene of the? Do you have any more nominations for the 6?
I think the basketball scene, because I think the basketball scene might be my worst scene, just because of all of this.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like I don't understand the motivations, like the things. I feel like someone wrote that in 5 minutes and walked away and be like, we're just gonna stick with that scene.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, again, not to accuse these 2 guys of being racist, but it does seem sort of like 2 guys in a room being like, what do black people do? Play basketball. And then they were like, okay, they'll go to a basketball game, and they didn't worry about the fact that it doesn't actually make any sense structurally what's going on in this basketball game. So I'm with you. I think it's the best.
Does he refer to? I feel like he refers to himself as Whitey in that moment too. It was like.
Probably.
Why did they have to make him so racist?
I don't know, for plot purposes. All right, last segment of this. How bad is the movie? The question is, who delivers the worst performance. I think this one's actually tough.
Because Bobby is objectively the worst character, so that's very...
But is Mark Wahlberg's performance the worst performance?
I don't think so, because he's playing that racist, homophobic thing really well.
I have 3 nominations.
What's
it
that?
goes Tyrese, who I think any movie that Tyrese is in, he's got to get nominated. I don't know how that guy's had a career.
It's so impressive.
We've got Garrett Hedlund, maybe no fault of his own, but I'm just simply not sure what he's doing in this movie.
No, but I feel like we got to discount him because at least he died very well.
Fair. Okay. Fair enough. And then my third one, this is very much, as we've already discussed, not her fault, but Sofia Vergara's performance is not a performance. It's her standing at the corner of a scene.
I think it's hard to be like worst acting because they don't have her act. They just like yell. They just like, it's very clear what they did. And it was just,
I mean, not many people in this movie do act though. That's what makes this tough, is that there's not many people acting in this movie.
Can we just be collectively disappointed?
We'll do an ensemble.
Ensemble. No, everyone was bad.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, everyone was bad.
Okay,
that's it. No,
easy for me.
Yeah, no, everyone was just bad at this movie. Everybody needs to go back home and like take some more acting classes.
Just look at yourself in the mirror and think.
Yes, and be like, did I do my best today? And you did not.
Well, so a separate question from this.
What's up?
Of the 3, because I think we can eliminate Andre 3000 because he's obviously not in this conversation for this. But of the 3 main actors, who has had the most, not successful, because obviously Mark Wahlberg is most successful of these 3, but most surprisingly good career in the aftermath of this movie?
Well, I mean, can't think of anything that I've seen Jack in.
Well, Gary, I mean, we talked about last week.
Besides
Tron Legacy.
I knew he was in Tron, but I'm saying besides that, I don't recognize him from...
Are you not a fan of the Netflix classic Triple Frontier?
I don't know what that is.
Triple Frontier is an action movie, and that's what I can say about it. It's that it exists, and it is an action movie.
I see.
He was also in a movie that I think a lot of white women really like, Country Strong. I've never seen it. I'm not going to pretend like I have seen it.
What's it called?
Country Strong. It's a rom-com with him and Gwyneth Paltrow.
That sounds racist.
Country singers.
Aren't
it probably is racist.
Aren't they in very different ages? I don't care that much.
Sure.
I don't know why.
I don't know.
I truthfully don't give a shit. I don't know why I even asked that question.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He has. I thought he was more successful just because, for some reason, his name is like in my head a lot. But
I blame.
Maybe
but
it's because Triple Frontier lives in my head rent free. Maybe that's the problem.
Well, I think maybe the answer is Tyrese, honestly, because I really thought his career was dead in the water, and then Fast 5 had to bring his ass back, and then now he's just back, I guess. He only does those though, so I mean, I don't know. He only does those movies.
I mean, he does because of his fame in Fast and Furious, because he's a recognizable name. He'll get roles every year. He'll be in a movie that like people don't really see, but he's the like 2019. He was in that movie Black and Blue with Naomi Harris and Frank Grillo.
Didn't see it.
No, I don't think anybody did. It wasn't good, but it exists. In a few weeks or months, he's about to be in Morbius. He just gets thrown into stuff because he's a recognizable name now because of Fast and Furious in a lot of ways.
Do you think anyone's going to actually see Morbius?
I mean, legally, don't we have to? I think we kind of have to go see
I haven't
Morbius.
seen Venom. No, I have not seen Venom. I've been avoiding these Sony movies.
You see the Fast and Furious movies. I'll see the Sony movies. So
I will do that. Yes, okay, that's very okay with me, honestly.
He was also in a movie last year with alum from one of my favorite TV shows, non-ironically one of my favorite TV shows of all time, The Americans, Holly Taylor, Rogue Hostage. It was entertaining. It wasn't good, but I had a fun time watching it, I guess.
Oh yeah, he was also in the original Transformers movies.
He's just in a lot of movies, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He was just in things for a while.
I think you know what it is because he was the black guy for a while, and we talked about how there's always one black guy and one.
He's like the loud black guy. Yeah, it's like that's what he is, loud black guy. Good job, Tyrese. You.
So we're going with Tyrese in the most surprisingly successful career.
Surprising.
Yeah.
I don't think we should bring him back for the reboot.
So, should we talk about that now? How apparently there's going to be a 4 brothers. What was it? No, it was 5 brothers is the name of the sequel.
I'm sorry.
Isn't that what I sent you the screenshot of? That there's gonna be.
No, I had no idea that. Oh, you did send that to me. I thought that was a fever dream.
No. Apparently, I mean, again, Tyrese just confirming something is not news because, as we've seen before, Tyrese, I guess when he's not literally on set with Vin Diesel is like maybe a crazy person, but Tyrese has confirmed per his Instagram page in 2020 that there is going to be a movie. There is a script at least for a movie called Five Brothers.
I have a question.
Yes.
How can you do Five Brothers when one of the brothers is dead?
I mean, technically, this lady did have like hundreds of children.
You have to add 2 more brothers. I'm just going to put that out there. You have to do 2 more brothers. It would make more sense to do 3 brothers because you only have 3 brothers.
Yeah, but that would confuse people, wouldn't they? They would think it was a prequel or something. People are very smart, Corey. You got to remember this.
I hope nobody's going to see 2. Do you think they're going to keep Mark Wahlberg as bad as Mark Wahlberg was?
Well, I mean, they did cut out. I mean, Jack is gone, so he doesn't have to make any more unnecessary homophobic jokes.
How many times does Mark Wahlberg say nigga in the next one? He said it with a hard R.
Over under 5 is the question. I think I'm going under, but barely. 4.5. 4.5 niggers.
Woo. God damn! I was joking. I forgot about you. I forgot you said that.
Yes, sir. All right. We already covered one of my nitpicks and unanswerable questions, but I do have one more, and we'll close out on this before we go to the break, and then we finally fix this movie. Not what. I guess my question is, how many times has Angel belted a bag over a man's head, do you think? Because he uses the word, so for people who haven't seen this movie, which again, you don't need to bother watching it, but there's a scene where Angel goes and confronts Josh Charles, Detective Crowley, and he puts a plastic bag over his head and he belts it to his neck. Which I'm not really 100% sure I'm convinced that would actually work at all. But putting that aside, he says while the detective is struggling with it, he says they, plural, never, suggesting previous, go for the bag. They always go for the belt, and you can't go for the belt. So, question.
He was in the U.S. military in the mid-2000s.
That was my point. How many
he
poor Afghan civilians has Tyrese killed?
Jesus Christ. All right, let's take a break. Head. Let's take a break, Jesus. Would have fit the tone of this movie, honestly.
What if that was the reveal suddenly?
Like Mark Wahlberg's character is actually gay. That's
and
what
Tyrese is a war criminal.
That's what Five Brothers is about. They're dealing with the consequences of those actions. It should really be a Kill Bill Volume 3 thing where Victor Sweet's kids come after the brothers.
They'd have to kill so many people. They have to kill the 3 remaining brothers and everyone who's ever worked for him, I guess.
Okay, fine. Make it a TV show. I don't fucking know. Like,
I'm about it. All right. Should we go to a break and then we'll come back and we'll fix this?
Oh, movie? we're still in the show. I thought we were at a break.
I'm leaving that in. I don't know what you're talking about.
Cops love the Mercers, Jerry.
Oh, sit him down. Damn! Girls are trying to kill me. What are you doing, man? All right. You want to go in that around? Huh?
You arrested last night. No, you didn't do anything.
So let me ask you again. What happened to Victor Sweet, Mercer?
Name is Jeremiah Mercer, and I want to see him now.
Alice, you might want to close your ears. This is some nasty shit.
That's what you want to hear. I did it. I did it, okay? You did it, then I want to hear you say it.
From about 5:30 p.m. to about 11 or so last night, I was banging that pretty little wife of yours, okay? Here's the
I was bumping uglies with your wife. She wasn't good the first time.
That's true. What do you got now?
Your hair, scumbag. Taking off Victor Sweet's dead body.
Don't push him like that.
And we're back.
Sup?
All right. You've entered the offices of Bishop and Shabazz Productions. We got to think up a better name for that one day.
We do. I thought we already decided on next time on Productions.
I guess, but that makes it sound like we just make TV shows.
I don't know. That's fair. Well, that's fair. We only do sequels.
We only
do sequels here.
What a bleak existence! You just get to make the sequel that the studio didn't want to keep.
What if they're like always good though? Like what if we're like a bunch of bad movies and then we just make great sequels?
Yeah, we're the guys who come in and reboot G.I. Joe for the third time.
They're going to reboot that again.
I know, they are.
They have to.
Crazy to me. It's still crazy to me that Hasbro makes movies, but
Jumper 2. That's us. We're doing another Jumper movie.
I'll leave that one for you, Solo. I'm not a big Jumper 1 guy.
Tron 3.
All right, we're gonna remake this movie. The rules are as follows. I mean, rules. It's not rules, but the idea is we're trying to remake this movie for 2022. Oh wait, I'm bad. I'm a bad podcaster. Let me quickly actually update the title. But we're gonna remake this movie for 2022. We're gonna give you guys the writer and directors and the new cast and tell you how we are fixing the plot of this movie, which actually, like I said before, I think actually fixing the plot of this movie is pretty easy. But first, let's get into who we are getting to make this movie. Corey, do you have a director in mind?
I think I was like, this is like honestly something I struggled with coming up with this. Because it's such a weird, like, the previous one, the tone of it was so bizarre.
Yeah.
That it was like hard to nail down what kind of movie I think this should be.
Yeah. That's the first thing I did is I tried to pick a movie that I was like, what's the tone of the movie that I actually want?
What did you pick? What did you go with?
Well, so
because I was almost thinking like, and I wouldn't know if it would work or not. Our guy from John Wick, doing the directing.
Lynch?
Yeah, I don't even know if that would really make sense or something I would want to work. I don't know.
I think the only reason I don't, and as you guys know, I'm a big David Leitch guy. I love Atomic Blonde. It's my shit. But the reason I wouldn't want that is I don't think this should be strictly like an action movie. So that's why I went with Matthew Vaughn. And I'm not talking Matthew Vaughn a la The Kingsman, which I do love, but is more goofy than I'm looking for. I think Matthew Vaughn early work, such as Layer Cake and First Class. X-Men First Class, that is.
Honestly, that's a really good point. That's a really good pick.
Action movies, but like kind of serious, but also has some jokes in there.
Action
so
moment, action movies that have their moments. Honestly, another choice I could think of right now is maybe like one of the Russo brother who did Extraction. Because I mean, like I think because they do a good job with the chill part, so they can occasionally.
I do like Extraction. I've honestly forgot about that movie.
Yeah, like it's
Sam
like not
Hargrave
nearly
is
as
the director of that.
Okay. Yeah, that's something I would lean to, but I think Matthew Vaughn does make more sense. So I think we should stick with Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah. So then, I wrote direct twice, but the screenwriters for this movie, and this, again, I've taken this as I do with most things in this podcast. I've taken it far too seriously, but basically because of my cast, you need to get some like heavy hitters. And while I love Matthew Vaughn, he's not known for attracting like a bunch of actors for his movies. Obviously First Class is packed with stars, but I think that's mostly the draw of the X-Men property, not necessarily Matthew Vaughn himself.
And also money.
Yeah, and also money. I went with recently Oscar nominated writers of what I think one of my, if not my favorite film of 2019, the Riz Ahmed vehicle Sound of Metal. Now, obviously I'm not looking for a movie that's like Sound of Metal, which is a very introspective, heart-wrenching movie about a man who loses his hearing, who's a musician. It's like basically his entire life. Darius Martyr, so this is Darius and Abraham Martyr. Darius Martyr also famously wrote, or is one of the three screenwriters on The Place Between the Pines, which is exactly the kind of movie I want to make. Kind of some good action sequences, but great performances, great characters. One of my favorite Ryan Gosling performances in his career is kind of. I think that's kind of the movie that like shot him into that between that and Drive, which came 2 years earlier. That's kind of the movie that made Ryan Gosling who he is today. I would think, or I suspect at least. And I think that's the kind of script I'm looking for. That's more of a strictly like crime drama. They're robbing banks and all that sort of thing.
And I mean, this is kind of crime drama as well. Yeah. So it does fit. That does fit.
Yeah. So the Darius and Abraham Martyr, who will have some cachet because they got, and I think anytime you write a script that gets somebody nominated for an Oscar, people want to come and work with you. So
my secondary, I think, my secondary choice for a creative with this might have been Ben Affleck, like direct, like Town era style. Yeah. But I think I like where you're hanging out at a lot for this.
I think people forget. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't think people forget. I think people think about a lot how Ben Affleck has some like genuine great movies under his belt as a film creator. Like he did The Town and Argo back to back.
I fucking love Argo.
Yeah, I'm not like a Gone Baby Gone believer, but there are people who really ride for that movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Gone Baby Gone, honestly.
It's interesting. I mean, I think you got to have.
Did they ever find the baby?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thanks. We don't talk about Gone Baby Gone. I clearly don't know anything about it.
It's a good Casey Affleck vehicle. I mean, it's not Manchester by the Sea or anything, but
fun. I love that guy. Sarcasm. That's sarcasm. Oh my god, I gotta make sure I
think the tone of this podcast has suggested we are not in support of guys like Casey Affleck at this point.
Okay,
I think if you're listening to this, we've established the kind of people we are. I hope. Or
I forget how bad I am. I'm really bad at
problem.
sarcasm sometimes, guys. I say things and I don't realize people can't tell that I'm joking sometimes. So one of those cases.
All right, let's run down our cast for this. So
yes,
first and foremost, I should say my movie can no longer be called Four Brothers, but also I hate the sound of four siblings. So I have
an idea. Okay. I have an idea for it. So I was looking at Wikipedia for Four Brothers, and apparently there's a Western film from like the 1960s with a very similar premise called The Sons of Katie Elder. Why don't just make it the kids of whatever you want to call the mom?
Oh, I actually do kind of like that. Yeah, the children of keep it Evelyn Mercer. The children of Evelyn Mercer.
That sounds like a much better movie. There you go. Solved your problem right there.
Yeah, perfect. So we'll run down my siblings and I'll kick it over to you for your siblings. I have.
Well, actually, can I just say my two because I agree with.
Yeah.
I think my only addition, only one I changed out was I had Joel Kinnaman, and my idea was him. I was just going to kind of keep that whole military thing going, and actually have him be like a Marine type character that Tyrese is supposed to be. But other than that, we can just kind of hop into your list because I think we're pretty much on the same page for the most part.
Yeah. So I wanted to pick good actors, unlike they did in the original.
Yes, that's a good idea.
That was my first move. And I also just think I think you need people who are obviously good action stars, but can be funny, because I think this movie, like I said, the best parts of the original Four Brothers, the actual one, is the scenes where they're just being siblings, they're just being brothers, and they're giving each other shit, and they're hanging out, and you need people who are good at stuff like that. So I have my eldest brother would be Michael Pena. I think people who know Michael Pena as only the guy from Observe and Report and Ant-Man will be confused, but I beg you to go watch End of Watch if you haven't seen it. Michael Pena is like a legit actor, like really fucking good. I don't think there's anything Michael Pena's ever been in that I don't think he's improved. He's even improved Fury, a movie that I'm still on the fence about if it's genius or terrible to this day.
I told you 20 minutes. Just give me 20 minutes out of that movie. I know exactly what you're talking about. I liked Fury.
I like Fury too, but I also, again, it might be a disaster. Like there might be a David error. Like,
I haven't watched it.
Mind slowly.
I don't know, man. Like no, on track. We're keeping on track. On track.
Next up, of course, Jonathan Majors. I don't think
that was my
podcast need me to tell you about Jonathan Majors. He's currently, I think. To be honest, he'd be the face of this film. He's in his star moment at the currently, obviously.
Yeah, that was definitely
the MCU. So.
That's definitely where I would hang my hat on. I would make him like the main character for sure.
I think this might be a little unrealistic, this next one, but I think, again, like I said, I've taken this all way too seriously, and this movie's never going to really exist. But in 2022, I think we're just catching this guy right before he's about to explode and become too expensive for this film, and that's Steven Yeun, coming off of Minari, an absolute burner of a film, and a movie that I keep revisiting. I've since watched it 3 times. Burning.
That's rare for you.
Which is I go back and rewatch movies like this pretty often. But Burning is a movie that when I originally saw it, I kind of hated because nothing happens in it, and it's 3 hours long. And then the second time I saw it, I was like, nothing happens, but I'm obsessed with everything that's happening on screen. And the third time I saw it, Steven Yeun's like blazing into my eyeballs. Like I can't stop watching this guy. He's so fucking good. If you haven't seen last year's The Humans, I think it's currently on Showtime. If you guys have Showtime, he's also in that and also excellent. Definitely worth checking that out. Another guy who's just good in everything. And last of my four siblings is and the reason that this movie can't be called Four Brothers anymore. I think you got to put a woman in here. One, because women exist and we should stop pretending like they don't. And two, because I just really like Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I think she's fucking good. She's a great actress and she's a sick action star.
The tone of this movie needs to be some shifting. There's a lot of the tone's not great to watch in 2022. Nearly
shockingly,
20 years later.
Nobody in my movie is going to be a homophobe. Just so you guys know.
Oh, good.
Yeah, if you guys didn't see Kate from last year, it's another one quite like the 355, which Corey and I will be doing a podcast on soon. Don't worry. It's not good, but it's very stylistically fun to watch, and Winstead is just great in it, as she is in kind of everything. She's the best part of Birds of Prey, as we talked about before, and I stand by that. So Corey,
she's barely in it, but that's true.
Yeah, listen, I didn't say that was there's a lot of good movie in there.
I like that one scene in the police station because it looked cool, and apparently somebody else shot it. It wasn't the same director.
That actually makes sense. It looks like it's from a different movie.
Yeah, it does. That's probably why I like it. Then they got like a second director from some other action film that they copied that from. Where was he going?
Yeah, so my four siblings: Michael Pena, Jonathan Majors, Stephen Young.
Oh yeah, I think
your four are
Jonathan Majors. I'm just taking out Michael Pena and replacement Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah, Michael Pena is also that
he's
really
not
matters in
gonna
Hollywood.
Say it again.
It's not that really matters in Hollywood. He's the only one that's he's like 10 years older than the other three. But I don't.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
But
so we'll go on to our secondary cast. I have my two cops, Manny Montana. I am the leader of the Manny Montana Club, the Manny Montana fan club. I think he's great in everything. He's the best part of Good Girls. Apologies to my future wife, Christina Hendricks, but he's fantastic in that. And also Patrick J. Adams. I just need a cheap white boy because the rest of my cast is fucking expensive. And Patrick J. Adams is a good actor. I like him in Suits a lot. And he kind of looks like a cop. He's got a cop face. So that's who I'm going with.
I don't believe in saving money. And I like the fact that like an actor everyone recognized was just like a cop for no reason. I'm gonna pick Pedro Pascal as a good cop.
I do love Pedro Pascal. I can't argue.
I cannot remember who I had somebody on the tip of my tongue as being like the dirty cop, and I'm fucking losing it right now, and it's really bothering me.
Was it Javier Bardem?
Yes. How did you guess? I'm gonna make John Bernthal because he's always just one or the other. So
John Bernthal. John Bernthal would be in this movie because John Bernthal just shows up and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he'd be like. Oh, there he is, and that would be his character.
John Bernthal like coming in hot in halfway through King Richard is like one of the most surprising. I guess not even cameos, just like interesting to movie I've seen.
He's such a good actor.
Yeah, I love John Bernthal.
I wanted to be. I think honestly, going forward with the show, he's gonna find his way to be in every one of my list.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he's coming back in the MCU? I mean, this is not the part for this discussion, but I guess just yes or no. Now that we have Daredevil,
I think they would be remiss not to bring him back just because of how good of an actor he is.
I think he's like beloved, so I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I think he's like universally. I think he's probably one of the best things that came out of. I think honestly, casting choice wise, he probably was my favorite out of the entire of the Netflix run of Marvel things.
I would think the only reason not to include him is if Marvel's like trying to distance themselves from Punisher, which I could understand.
Yeah, just like stop using the skull. I don't know.
Yeah. Last on my cast list, recasting list is as villain, another guy who I just think is fantastic in everything, and I just want to see him in more stuff. So this is Zahn McClarnon, who is I guess probably most famous at this point for his role in Fargo. Is that fair? Or maybe Westworld?
I think Fargo. I think Fargo season 2, at least to me, when I saw who he was when I Googled him, I'm like, oh, Fargo guy.
Yeah. Also currently playing one of my favorite TV characters in Reservation Dogs as like cop who has like, no money or funding and has to drive around by himself and patrol this reservation. It is just like really funny and charming. I love McLarnon. He's great. Corey, anybody else on your cast list that we didn't get to?
No, I think honestly you covered it pretty well. I don't really have a reasonable person to put in as my villain because I just like seeing Idris Elba play gangsters, and I'm not going to do that for once.
How many movies in a row can Idris Elba just be sort of like hooded evil guy before
evil guy opposite Jonathan Majors? Yeah. You mean every movie?
I mean, I'm fine with it, but I think it might get tiring just for Idris Elba himself.
I think so too, but he's not really doing. He's doing better-ish.
What do you mean? He's going to be in Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh, that's right.
He's got the Luther movie coming out this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which has been delayed for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, I thought
supposedly it's coming out this year. We'll see.
I thought it was just like a rumor. I didn't know
it
was
actually.
No.
It was like it's been. I mean, as far as I know, it's been confirmed. They just kept getting pushed back, and they cast Andy Serkis and Cynthia Erivo, who's like. So he's fucking amazing. So
awesome. That sounds awesome. But I don't have anybody within a reasonable budget that I would.
You don't want to cast like Brad Pitt or.
I don't know. I was wondering should it be like a big name? Because I was wondering should we do the physically.
I don't know with the stuff like. I just saw that poster for that new Apple TV show where it's got all of the human beings in it, and I guess if you're a streaming platform, we could just go to Apple. If we were actually in this business, then we could just go to Apple and be like, hey guys, give us all of the money. We'll cast all the people and we'll get you some subscriptions on your Apple TV Plus accounts, I guess, right?
You know what? I got to say, I think if I'm saying fuck it to money, I want to make Jamie Foxx my bad guy. And I want him to be like I want him to just be like cartoonish and like ridiculously over the top.
Didn't we talk about it? You saw that, oh my God, what was that superhero movie with Machine Gun Kelly in it? Power. You see Project Power?
No, I didn't see Project Power. Sorry, everything you were saying there was upsetting me as time was going on. I have never heard of this thing.
I thought we talked about this. The Netflix superhero movie.
Oh, I never watched it. I remember hearing about that. Now, was it?
I mean, he's good at it because Jamie Foxx is again just very charming, fun guy to watch.
Yeah, so I think just having Jamie Foxx be at his like most ridiculous with this character, I want that.
Yeah, I'm about it. Like I said before, I think fixing the plot of this movie is actually really easy because the structure of it makes a lot of sense. Just
the motivation
to write people who, and I think, like I said, the Darius and Adam Martyr have a real understanding of the human condition, as evidenced by Sound of Metal, which I will cape for until the day I die. But I think that's like the idea of 4 siblings being brought back together because their mother is tragically murdered, and they uncover a plot that gets more and more complex and more insidious as the movie goes on is a really cool idea for a movie. It's just this isn't a cool movie.
No, it's not. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think fixing it is pretty simple. But anything else to say about Four Brothers or Four Brothers 2? What was it? The Children of Evelyn Mercer, our way better movie that we made in 10 minutes.
Much better. I think it's I think what I want to stand on, I think it had a really good idea, a really good premise. It's just a lot of shit in the in between, and I even think you can tie in gang violence or like some kind of insidious plot that involved their mother getting killed. But yeah, I don't think
it's actually the one good thing about this movie. I mean, good or whatever. I when movies are long and good, I don't care. But the thing about this movie is it's pretty short, hour and 50 minutes. It's pretty tight for a movie like this. Usually it's bloated with a lot of shit.
And it's overly complicated, but at least at the end of it, I'm I am at least satisfied with most of the explanation for why this happened. At least to me, I'm this is at least makes sense. Yeah. I think it's stupid as hell on that guy's part, but I think it's just ignore one old woman, dude. What the fuck? What the fuck's she gonna do?
It's also she doesn't have any power or influence.
Nothing. She's a poor older woman. There's
a line in the movie where he literally says, I don't care about cops, I own cops. And he was worried about one geriatric lady living in the Detroit suburbs. Yeah, it's pretty wild. If we'll close it out here. As always, please don't go rate us 5 stars on Apple and recently, of course, on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, just go click that 5-star button right now. Really helps the people out. If you are listening to us on YouTube or watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's the good stuff right there. If you're not watching us on YouTube, the link is in the description. Go over there, check us out. I think the video experience of the podcast is a good one. If you want to see our beautiful faces, or my beautiful face and Corey's face.
Yeah, it's really grainy. It kind of takes away a lot of my definition and handsomeness.
And of course, you can check out the website nexttimeon.net. That's where all the archive podcasts, all the future podcasts are. Next week, we are going to be coming back with a regular episode, just talking about new movies, comics, all that good stuff. But later in the month, we've got our All Old, All Good book club, which for this month is N.K. Jemisin's Far Sector. And announcing it now so you guys can get prepared, our Bad Movie Club, Curse the Rewatch for next month, is going to be Bulletproof Monk by Paul Hunter, starring the one and only Sean William Scott, a man that I don't trust because I simply do not believe any human being should have 2 consonants at the end of their name. I don't trust people with 2 consonants at the end of their name. I don't like it. So that's what we'll be doing in the month of March.
If you guys have any if you guys have any recommendations or anything you want us to cover in our book clubs or movie clubs or bad movie rewatch, if you have anything from your childhood that you're afraid to go back and watch, and you want us to go watch, please tweet at us at NextTimeOnPod. And also, for Far Sector, we never really recommend that you guys watch movies when you're doing this, but
it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it, no. But I gotta double down and definitely say that if you were on the fence or you're looking for a new graphic novel to read, pick up Far Sector. The art is incredible, and the art's incredible, and the writing is fucking amazing.
I also think those 2 podcasts are a very different experience. The experience of listening to us talk about how shit a movie is. You don't need to have seen the movie to hear us praise a really great comic book, a really great graphic novel. You kind of need to have read it.
But also you can check out our YouTube page where you can see the pages that we're going to be referencing while we're doing this. So there you go. Hey,
nice little plug there. So for me, I've been Che.
I've been Corey.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.